So this tutorial I wanted to quickly show you how to go from a hand drawing, like on this whiteboard, to a pattern that you can cut on the laser cutter. So we did this on Sunday with my daughter Anna, so I just had her draw some things on the board and I took a picture of it. And I brought that picture into Illustrator and used, come to Windows, Image Trace. It opens up this tool. And so let me show you, I'll go through this really quickly with this little pattern. I'm going to do two things at once. I'm going to show you how to make an enclosure for a light, a really fun way to make like a lamp out of just cardboard and paper and a pattern, and then I'm also going to show you how to use Illustrator to do that. So these are hand drawings, and you'll use hand drawings to create more of the artistic look and feel of any of your designs. I use another piece of software for doing the mathematically accurate and dimensionally accurate pieces. So if I'm going to show you what we're doing, so this is a software called Fusion 360. It's an Autodesk software. Autodesk has several different 3D modeling tools, including one called Tinkercad that is a really easy one to use. We introduce third graders, fourth graders, kids to modeling using Tinkercad, more of a drag and drop kind of thing. So what we're doing is we're going to use cardboard and cut out and use a laser cutter to cut out these pieces, and these pieces fit together using finger joints. So so this is a little enclosure, and we're going to put our lights inside of it. And this top piece of material, the circle, will cut a pattern, and the light will come through that pattern. And if any of you looked at the LEDs, they're pretty bright. So if you look at them directly, they will hurt your eyes a little bit. So what we'll do is tape or glue some paper onto the inside of the pattern. So the light goes through the white paper, the thin paper, and we've got this nice, cool set of patterns cut into the cardboard that's about 1/10 of an inch thick. So this is what the pattern looks like. And this is a great tool because I can change a lot of these variables, and it updates. So all these measurements are related to each other. So this is called a parametric model. Say I wanted this to only be 50 millimeters wide, it's going to shrink the side of, so this is one of the sides. This is the finger that goes into this pocket. And everything updates. So the width of this updates, so I can put it in there. And I can also change how many number of sides I have. Right now this one has 8 sides. Let me go down to 6. And so if I did 6, it just made 6, and this guy got a little bit wider. So everything relates. And I can just go over here and then right click and then save this as a DXF, and anyway, so I can save that, and then I can open it up into Illustrator, which I done a little bit earlier. Okay, so drawing. So I drew this in my notebook, and I was thinking, I don't know, I was just kind of making up a shape. I thought, oh, it might be cool to have a whole bunch of circles and the light coming through it. They kind of had this sort of organic thing. To me, it started looking like a weird alien egg. But I kind of just very lightly kind of go in circles and just sort of rough out the shapes I was looking for. And I thought would be kind of nice. And so I will kind of just keep making passes until I kind of get to the shape I like. This is not dark enough, so Illustrator won't understand it. So what I did was just got a magic marker or Sharpie and traced it. And then to make it even easier, I just got an eraser and then erased the white lines out of it. So if I go to Illustrator, and I can show you how this works. new one here. I can actually just go, I don't know if it does this, it should do it on the, so there's the alien egg outline. I can just drag it over here. When we need it. And so the image trace tool is here. We can do grayscale or color, but black and white is probably going to give us, this is all we need. We just need the lines. So let's do preview. It's going to take a while, I guess. This is a fairly new computer, so it shouldn't be too bad. And as you can see, it really tightened everything up and made it really nice and clean. This looks fine to me. So to accept that, this is all kind of joined together, and you want to expand it. And then now all these pieces that have been that the trace has been broken into are grouped. So I want to ungroup it. Use this technical how to use the tool that you'll need to know. And now we have all these different pieces. So I can actually delete all the white. I can take this part and move it around and just, well, I can delete that if I wanted to. So now I have vector lines. And I have white in here and all of these, and that's going to cause a little bit of trouble. So you have to clean this up a little bit before you do anything with it. So just to kind of quickly show you what you need to do. First of all, right now it's filled. So these shapes are, I can grab these, so I can grab that guy out, and then if I color that guy red, so that's this shape, and that's another one of them, right? So these guys are all just shapes, and if I went and did the outline, it will show the outline, and it's the outlines that the laser cutter will understand. The insides or the fill, which is here on the left, it will ignore unless it's black. And if it's black, then it will treat it as a etching, and it will just sort of make this. It'll burn it, and burn the material and etch in the shape. You'll see some of the examples like that. Okay, so I want to basically get all these to the lines that I want the laser just to cut. So I'll just tell it to go to, and this does need to be an RGB, and it needs to be all the way red. And that's what the laser will understand. Cut everything that's red, and then also just ignore and make see-through. So what we've ended up with is two cuts. So the laser would cut this one, that would fall out, and it would cut this, and it would fall out. So I just needed to decide in the design which one I think is more appropriate. We don't need this guy. And I think it's probably the outside. You can do this also with a finer tip pin, but you're still going to have to do this. You're just going to have to zoom in really close. So let me show you what I mean. I think the 300. So I just have to clean up. So I'll just start cleaning up the insides. If I press delete. So we need to use the direct edit tool or direct selection tool. That allows us to edit these lines. This one, which is the selection tool, just so, we can change things like this. We can move them around with the selection tool. So we want all of them just basically look like that. So I can, I wonder if I can actually do that. No. So for some reason it interprets this as they're together. So I have to use the direct selection tool and basically delete all those. Okay, I'm going to spare you going through all of it. And okay, and so this is what I came up with. I did have to, after I moved it around, I didn't really like, or after I selected on some of them the top or the outside circle, and some of them I selected the inside circle. I didn't really like how that looked, and it kind of didn't look like basically how I intended it to look. So I started playing around with some of these a little bit, and filling in some of the gaps. And so the good thing about all of that is you can edit them very easily. So this is good enough right now. I was thinking this doesn't really look like the sort of crazy alien egg thing anymore. Now it looks more like a cartoon. This looks to me like some weird something out of a science fiction movie. But this looks more like a crosscut of like a cartoon crosscut of underground. So there's dirt and there's rocks in the dirt. Anyways, okay. It's still my design. I like it. We'll look at it. Okay, so the next thing to do was I did bring in this shape. Let's just go ahead and copy this guy so you can see what I did. So I brought in the shape. I had to copy it because if we looked at this pattern, right, I only need basically the top and the bottom are going to be exactly the same. Top same, bottom the same. All of these are the same. So because these are all related with equations, I didn't want to create another one. It would be kind of dumb to create another one and repeat all the equations when I can just, when I'm making the pattern, I can just copy however many I need. And so that's what I did over here. I brought in basically that pattern. It was just one of them. I created, I think this has 10, and I just copied it 10 times, and that one over one time. Okay, so we have this shape, and like I said before, these ones are dimensionally accurate, so we don't want to change the shapes very much, especially here, because then it won't fit our real world material, which our real world material is 1/10 of an inch. That width is 1/10 of an inch. This width from there to there is 1/10 of an inch. That just means this is going to be flush with the top, but if we changed this, it wouldn't fit if we scaled it a little bit. But our drawing, our art, we can scale all we want because it's really, well, or whatever it is, like the lowest that the laser cutter can cut. So with this, yeah, I just scaled it to fit in the middle. And on the back, this will be etched. And I'll show you a picture of it, or I'll add a picture of what this thing looks like when it's all cut out. So this is exactly what you would need for your design when you decide to cut it. These are red, green, blue, RGB format, red, and then the thickness of your line is 0.1 points. So it has to be very thin for the laser cutter to get it. And if you have this, then you're all set up. The one last thing you can do to make it easier for us, we'll help you with all these little finishing parts. The main thing is if you bring your pattern to the prototyping lab, then from there they can help you. So you want to show rulers. We use this all with right clicks and inches. All of our rulers are in inches. So what we have here is, so if we go to our little artboard setup, we have artboard 1, and it's telling us the size. So the width is almost 6 inches, and the height is 6.5 inches. So you would have to cut this, right? You can actually kind of make it a little bit smaller too, if, get everything in there. Try to avoid waste as much as possible. Lay out your parts to avoid waste. Wasting material as much as possible are reasonable, right? You can spend a lot of time. The balance between time and material. This is not too bad. I have this little section that maybe can be reused. Still like 6 by 6 piece of material. And so you find it, or get yourself, or even cut from a larger material a piece. And then if you bring your piece of material and your design, then it's really, really easy for us to cut some stuff. That's about it. So let's see what you all can do with that little tutorial.